Welcome to Successful Toy Podcast, where we shine a light on the positive side of every journey. Our platform is dedicated to celebrating the success stories and unique experience of people from all walks of life, regardless of their fame or background. Whether you're a well-known figure or just starting out, the Successful Toy Podcast is here to share your story and inspire other listeners with your achievements and insights. Join us as we explore a diverse range of topics and uplift voices that deserve to be heard. Everyone has a story to tell, and we're here to listen.
Hey y'all, so I'm back with another episode, and today I'm doing an interview. So I'm gonna hand the mic over to him and let him introduce himself to you guys.
All right, hey everybody, and I'm happy to be here. This is I watch a lot of you. You just don't know it. My name is Derrick Jones. I'm a certified relationship coach and a certified self-healing coach. And I decided to add the self-healing part on because I realized that healing is a big part of what we need to do as humans in general, but it lends itself into how we enter into relationships, and sometimes it becomes a part of the success or failure by what you bring into it. So I was like, let me focus on healing. A lot of coaches don't do that because it's very emotional. So they try to stay away from it, but I feel like I'm uniquely built for it. So I challenge people. I teach them not just how, I don't just tell people to heal, I teach them how. And so that's kind of where my flag is. And then the relationship stuff comes on the back end of it. So that's what I do. I try to help people be better versions of themselves before they go outside.
I love it. So before we get into it, today's episode is sponsored by Shiesty Apparel. You can follow them on Instagram at shiesty.apparel. So let's get into it because I got questions, because maybe I need some healing that I don't know about, even though I'm in therapy.
Let's go.
Can you explain your healing first approach and how it impacts the relationship coaching process?
Okay, so to piggyback on my introduction, I started saying healing first because and I'll give you like a 10-second of the how it came and then the why. So when I gave people dating advice, they would write it down, they would take it, and then they would go back to revert to their patterns that they used to do all the time. So no matter how much I told them where to go and how to meet better people and what questions to ask, they would still go back to what they're used to doing. And I was like, something's wrong with this process. So I went back and I started looking at things like childhood wounds and past relationship hurt and digging real deep into it. And I'm like, wait, if somebody has abandonment issues, like from their parents, it don't matter how many questions I give them, they're going to always go and try to find somebody to grab onto and stick to them. No matter what I taught them, they're going to still keep trying to find something to grab onto. So I was like, they need to heal first. And then another person and another person. And I'm looking at and I was like, wait, there's something to this. I can't just give these people advice and walk away and think I helped them. I got to go a little bit deeper. Now, a lot of the going backwards goes into therapy because some people dealt with some real deep stuff. So I push them to therapy if I know I can't handle it, because coaches and therapists are different. But for the most part, I deal with what I've learned to talk about this better. There's big T trauma and little T trauma, right? Big T is like the stuff that people like, the different types of like physical abuses and the other deep stuff. But like sometimes it could be something like your parents weren't emotionally available, or one was there or not there. So that kind of stuff, sometimes you just need more information and a little tweak to kind of help you push you in the direction you need to go in, because it doesn't go as deep. So I stay there most of the time. I help people with those type of things, because a lot of these things people don't call trauma. They're just like, oh yeah, my mom never told me they love me or whatever. But when you start dating, it starts showing up. So those are the things where I try to say, hey, it might be this, go look at this. And then they're like, oh my God, you're right. And then they go on to this healing journey. And so I help stair-step them through that way. So whenever they come to me, I'm like, let's talk about a few things. I'm not a therapist, but what you told me about your dating, it's a pattern. We got to look at the pattern. I'm an engineer by trade, so I recognize things that don't fit really fast with human behavior because of my life experiences and the training. So I'm like, wait, it's the same thing. We got to go backwards and heal first. So then I started saying on my platform, heal first, and then we can go back outside because you're not ready.
Woo, that was to me. You was talking to me, but I done healed. I have healed. but you just described me all in that whole. Yeah.
It's most of us, right? Most of us, if we don't have like great success in relationships, there's a pattern somewhere in it, and I will find it.
Yeah, that's definitely me. Hey, everybody. I see the comments. Hey, how y'all doing? We'll get into the comments later. In your experience, what are the common mental health challenges people face in relationships and how do you address them?
So I would say, like, if we look at how people are in 2024, mental health wise, a lot of people are dealing with just everyday stress, right? Living in survival mode, trying to make ends meet, having a schedule that they have to keep, and you may have kids and the work and all of these things. When you're dealing with all of these stressors and things that you don't know how to manage, you're just trying to make it work, and then you try to be in a relationship, it's hard to manage all of it together. So when you talk about mental health, when you talk about even things that may have happened, prior to you being in this current relationship or dating, all of that stuff affects kind of like your psyche and like how you deal with stuff. And a lot of us just don't know how to be able to deal with it, but we know we want to be with somebody. So we try to make it, we try to push it in. Like,
Mhm.
crazy every day trying to make the bills work and kids and all of that. And you're like, but I still want a boyfriend. How do you fit that in there? And then when
Right.
you do get it, how are you not just treating yourself, but how are you treating this new person that's a stranger to you based on all of the stuff you're going through? So I always try to
Mhm.
help people learn how to ground themselves and try to get to a place where they can kind of, whether it's meditation, for me, it's music, right? You turn on some 90s R&B, I'm at peace, right? I had to
Right.
figure out what worked for me. So I try to teach people everybody's way to calm and center isn't the same, but you got to find your way because life is going life. And so
Mhm.
about mental health, I look at these little day-to-day things that we don't necessarily think that it's mental health stuff, but we know we in that room crying because that bill came. And then we trying to show up as the people that are supposed to be these loving, caring people. And I got to look
Uh-huh.
out for my man, or I got to look out for my woman. I got to make sure they good. How can you do that? You got to be able to make space for not just them, but you got to make space for you. So the big
Mhm.
thing is most people don't make space for them. So if you never made space for you, like I was one of those people, I'm always last, everybody else, I got to make sure everybody else good. If you don't make space for you, you ain't gonna never show up good in a relationship if you don't honor yourself, because you're not gonna speak up for yourself. You're not gonna advocate for the things you don't like because you people pleasing, and it becomes a part of our lives. We got to make sure everybody, parents, kids, work, me, now me last, and then tomorrow comes, and now you got to rinse and repeat. You're gonna be it's an unfortunate self-imposed prison, and it could go on for decades.
Yeah.
Then you meet somebody and they're like, hey, I want some of your time, or I want part of you, and you don't even know what to give them because you don't know who you are. You never spent time learning what you like because you learn what everybody else likes. So that to me messes with your psyche more than a whole lot of other stuff we could talk about.
You've been studying me or something because, like, when I tell you all this is mean, like, that is so mean. To this day, I still really can't tell people what I like.
Yeah, it's
I be
huge.
like, I just go with the flow. I don't.
It's a lot of us. We a lot of us were products of what our parents told us we better do. You better go to school. I know so many people who graduated from college and they wanted to be a cosmetologist, and they was like, I had to do it because, and then you go through your whole life. Now you got kids. Now you got whatever going on. Now you can't go live your dream. You can't even focus on what you like because you got to serve what society says you should be and how you're supposed to
Yeah.
act in church, how you're supposed to do this and do. You are always going to be last. And then when somebody asks you and you 40, who are you? You're like, I'm a good mom. I help people do stuff. And it's like, no, you. So imagine a world where if I don't know myself, but I'm also singularly responsible for finding somebody who fits the real me,
Mhm.
but you still outside. This is the dating pool. This is why people say the dating pool is trash a lot of times, because they're like, all of these people doing these things I don't like and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but do you know what you want? So you know that when the things you don't want come close to you, yet you can push them out the way. But you're not, because you don't want to be by yourself.
Mhm.
Or you got
Oh,
some other issues. So I help people clean out the issues, at least know what they are, so that when you can recognize these things, it'll raise a flag for you and say, wait, I'm in a healed version of myself. This don't even feel right. Let me roll, because I love myself now and I know what I want.
Mm. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to my therapist again, because you making me realize the most stuff. I'm like, yeah, I can't even tell people what I like. I can't even tell people about me. And
Yeah.
I tell my girl that all the time. Be like, I cannot talk about myself. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I literally can't explain to people who I am. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And then
And
she'll tell me who I am, and then I'd be like, oh yeah. She was like, okay. And then she'll ask me questions like, okay, what do you do? What do you like to do? And then when I'm answering the question, it's like,
and
that's all you have to
a
do.
lot of times, I'll coach people who are 40, 50, 60, and no matter what age you are, it's like there's so many people that's like, I don't know. But then if you actually go back and peel the layers back of these generations, Gen X, a little bit of millennials, you'll find kids that had parents that was like, shut up, just do what I say. So you were never taught to, right. So you were never taught to share your opinion or to have a voice. You was taught to be quiet and do what I say and you'll be fine. Go here, do this, and you'll be successful. Go. I know you hurt, but it's okay. Just be quiet and just do it this way. And so when you grow up, like, it's a part of you. So then you become a person who's in service of others versus yourself. And then you're 40 and you're still doing it. And you do it in relationships, and you find people that hurt you, but you're still trying to help them. And now you 5 years in and you're like, I wasn't happy in month 2, but I had to make sure that I made it work. You didn't have to, because it wasn't right then.
Riri said a child is supposed to be seen, not heard. Are
Yeah.
you saying that's what our parents told us, or that's what supposed to go now?
And what I learned is not to necessarily like be upset or be so mad at them about it, because that's what they were taught. That's all they knew. So, we did what we could do to survive, but our relationships tell the story.
For real.
Yeah.
I swear, because I didn't. I say this all the time on my show. I didn't know how to love. I just felt like, I always thought, I ain't gonna even say I thought like you only supposed to love people that you're sexual with, not knowing that I supposed to have different love for my mother, my kids, my mate. Like, I didn't even know what love was. I couldn't even tell my kids I love you back.
Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah.
What's
both of my parents, I didn't hear I love you from either of my parents until I was probably 40-ish. Before that, 0. And I was like, but when I look at my relationships, I was greedy for it. Like, I didn't care about vetting, asking the questions, see if we align, just make me feel like I'm loved. I wanted affection more than I wanted to know who the hell you were. I needed it so bad. And then when I got older, I was like, wait, there's a pattern here. I was always doing it. And then when I went back for it, this is the process that I help people through. When we go far enough back, most of the time it's going to go back to your childhood, and then we work forward, and we don't just look at the relationships. We look at who you were before you got into the relationships, because that's where the meat is. What made you attached to the person? Not that they hurt you, because we don't like that. We can talk about that. But what made you attached to this person so deeply that you couldn't leave even when it hurt? The meat comes before who you were before you met them. And if you do that enough, you're going to find out that who you were has always been the same.
You know what's so crazy? Me, I'm the totally opposite of you. Like, you was looking for that love, and if they said it like you was, me, I didn't care. Like, I don't care if they love me or not. Like, I just was so nonchalant about everything when I was in relationships. Like, I didn't care. I didn't give two flying fucks. So it's like, when I found out what love really was and how to really love, it's like, I want that.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah.
We have a comment. Dr. Nikki Nicole said, I want affection too, but when you become an adult, love is not the same.
Yeah. It's very true. It's very
Love is a
true.
verb.
But here's the thing, right? This is the disconnect, right? When you go from child to adult, you don't. A lot of times, it's a gray area, right? We just know that we want the feeling. We're not even relegating it to love. We just know that there's something sometimes we get greedy for it, sometimes we push it away, but you're going to have some kind of reaction to the thing that may or may not have happened as a child. Like when we look at different things, like you say, nonchalant, there's something that created you to be that way. Whatever it is, there's something that made you be
My
that way.
mother.
Yeah. So there's always a source. Is what I try to tell people. People that are in the comic books, every villain and every superhero has an origin story. There's always a point that created them to be that. And if we look at that in ourselves and we understand it, that's the healing. Because then when you get triggered by it again, you be like, wait, that's not about the person I'm meeting. I'm bringing this into the. Hold on, wait. I apologize for my behavior because that's not about you. Once you're able to move in a way where you can almost sense and pick things that are supposed to be in your space energetically, and whether how they treat you and things like that and the boundaries, then you start to make better choices. It doesn't mean you're going to find your person per se, because I tell people in coaching, I can't guarantee you're going to find your person, but I can teach you how to move better so that you bring in better candidates. And maybe that person comes or not, but there's no downside to you working on yourself.
I like that. How has your background as a NASA engineer influenced your approach to relationship coaching?
Oh, wow. This, you could probably hear it in how I describe things, right? A lot of relationship coaches, like, he be breaking it down in a way that I can never, like, because the way that I see things is I don't just look at you. I don't just look at my perspective. I look at all different ways that something could be true or false, right? It sounds very engineered, right? I look at multiple perspectives, but I look at it like within a second or two. I can see the different ways that something can happen, and I'll pick out the one that could be most true for people. But I do it so fast because of my what I do is it's kind of like I'm hacking human behavior instead of a computer, right? If that makes sense. So logically, if you look at humans and how they behave in their childhood, you can almost predict the pattern, right? Like if a parent is absent, the child has a couple of ways they're going to probably turn out, and then you can look at their relationship choices. So I'm a pattern recognizer, right? I do it at work for engineering, and I also do it with human behavior. And people will think that we're so different and I'm a special, there's no one else like me on the planet. But your behavior, a lot of our behaviors are very similar. If you got a bunch of, like, when I do my Q&A sessions, when you put 20 people in the room and you let them talk about a subject, and you say, so who all felt the same way Sally did? And they be like, me, I did the same thing. You would be surprised how same we are in our relationships and our emotions and everything else. You could put a cap on types of emotions, right? So if there's only a certain amount of emotions, then most of us are going to feel anger and all of these different things. So now we just got to look like how it looks like. So I do all of that really fast, like I'm a scary talent. And so I parse people's patterns out, and then we look at the behavior, and then we look for the fix. So as an engineer, I don't like to fix things temporarily. I like to go for the foundation, which is the healing. And then we build on top of a stronger foundation instead of just giving you dating advice. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. We have a comment before we go on a break. Author Nikki Nicole said, I believe we control our emotions and we choose how to react. That is true. That's definitely true. Sometimes I be want to walk away, but sometimes inside of me says, no, do something.
Yeah. There's always that other voice in there that it's always there. That's the crazy thing. It's always there. Right. And then we're like, nah, let me go ahead and give them another chance. Nah, they look cute. So, they look like this, so they must be safe. That's not a qualifier on safety. What somebody look like. You got to look like what they're doing to you and how it feels. Yeah. It's very true.
We're going to go on a quick commercial break, get into some new music. It's called Steady Watching.
When I walk in, they said he watching. Louis V on the set, they tryna copy. You better stop it, or I'ma bust it. I ain't holding back, you finna leave in some crutches. These bitches looking for the clout. I'm aiming at they mouth with my looks, I can count. They talking all that shit, but they posting on the couch. You can't tell me shit, I'm the king of the South. I'm the one stopping bags with his face. Fine from the waist, could you try to take my place? I don't think so, bitches do what I say. Thing one and thing two, don't make me pull up where you stay. Yeah, you steady watching me, don't make me catch you lacking. If you need clothes, I take you on a shopping spree. It ain't nothing about losing a bag, I double up, count it up, why you still in last? Oh, you wasn't ready for that. I'm munching on the beat with Doritos and some Cool Ranch. I'm killing every look and every look cost all 2 racks. I can't give it to you niggas if you moving like them rack. Got this big bank roll on my neck, splurging all this money with the pole in my vest. Walking through the mall, dropping money on baguettes. Bitch, you can't top me with these diamonds on my chest. Ho, you ain't the one nor the two. Got him spending all his money on Jimmy Choo's. Get on my level, you probably get it too. Oops, I forgot, ain't no nigga out here for you. Yeah, you talking, so back that shit up. You ain't saying nothing, shut the fuck up. You wanna fight, let's set that shit up. Ain't no ducking shit, bitch, run the fuck up. Ain't no ducking shit, run the fuck up. Ain't ducking shit, bitch, run the fuck up. I got a damn for my hoes, run it up. Peel it back on you hoes, tighten up. Ain't no ducking shit, run the
Okay. Let's get back into these questions. We have a comment before I ask the next question. Okay. Author Nikki Nicole, this part. It is not just a feeling. I am always saying love is in action. Yes, Kay.
Yep, very true.
Nikki Nicole said, exactly. People have to show you they love you. It is easy to say it. Yes. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I used to didn't know the difference. Like, I just used to feel like I told them I love them. Like, what else they want me to do? No, you got to show people. And I used to know how to show love.
You know what's the most crazy part of how we look at things is if you research how much percentage of communication is not verbal, it's most of it, right? But we always focus on the words, right? Even though the words are not even 50% of communicate, it's really small. But we're not taught or learned or raised to look at the actions more than the words. We're taught to listen to the words because of how they make us feel. And then the actions don't matter as much, but the actions should matter more. It should matter more because that's the most of communications. How people treat you, how they move, their behavior, that matters way more than somebody saying I love you. But the way that we were raised, I love you is supposed to be a cure-all for everything. If they mess up, if they say I love you, then I'll forget about it. Nah. You just hurt me. You still doing it. But that thing in us that makes us not pay attention to it because we just want that attachment, we stay in stuff long. Like, people, I coach people who've been married for 23 years and they're like, I wasn't happy in year 2. And I'm like, 23, how does one stay that long? Like, but it's
right. What the hell? 23 years, like that is a long time for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
These are the things that made me say there's got to be something to a person who chooses to stay somewhere that is harmful, hurtful, abusive to them, and it's not that they enjoy it. Inside, they know it's, and a lot of people can resonate with this. And so this is why I'm like, who were you before you picked them? What made you, because there's this thing called attachment styles and attachment theory. What made you want to cling on to this person so tightly that even in the face of hurt, you couldn't let go? Right. That's what I focus on, because that's where we don't want you to keep doing it again. After 23 years, you got to have it. I don't want you to compete that. I always tell people, I don't want you to heal more than you do for yourself. But if you're in my care, I'm not gonna let you go outside. You're not allowed to date. This is why I tell them you're not allowed to date until you come back and check in with me, because you're not ready. And
right.
they be mad. They be like, can I just go meet somebody? No, you can't, because you don't know how to stop yourself. So we're not gonna let you go back out there.
Yeah, that is crazy. What are the key ingredients in the relationship gumbo brand that help individuals become better versions of themselves?
Mm. The key ingredients, self-awareness, is one of the biggest keys. It's just understanding yourself, and that goes into all the stuff we were talking about. And I have evolved into a different type of a coach now, and I talked about this earlier, where now that I know that healing is a big part of this, I can't unsee it. Like we have to make you help you see yourself first. All of the things that we talked about earlier about knowing who you are and why you do the things you do, that is first above all. Those are the biggest key ingredient is self-awareness. You have to know who you are and be self-aware of yourself before you even think about adding somebody else into the equation. You can't, it's so powerful. You can create standards, deal breakers, boundaries, all of these things that are supposed to help you date better and relationship better. You can't build them on top of an empty shell. You can't, they will not work. You can write them down all you want to. It will not work if you do not know who you are. It's impossible for you to build healthy boundaries around somebody who doesn't know who they are. It will not work. So that's why I focused on that more. That is the key. I can give you a list of 5 ingredients. I have to talk about this one more than the other 4. You have to do this. And so I don't let people back away from this, even though they want to. I can't do it. And if that means I lose clients because they don't want to do that work, I will do that before you say I got coached by Derrick and you go outside because you got a list of questions to ask at the dinner table. It's not going to help you.
Dang, that is crazy. Now I understand why nothing worked in my life in the early part of my years.
Yeah. This is why I feel so passionate about it. We didn't have this information. Who was there to teach it to us? Not our parents, not our friends. We had to learn all of this stuff by trial, by fire. We had to walk through it and hurt and be devastated and be abused to find out about it. And even then, we still don't necessarily know how to get out of it. So we go back outside again and we do it again and we get hurt again. And it's like, now most of my clients are not 18 or 20, they 40, 50, 60. And I always tell them how many more years you want to keep doing it, because it's going to keep happening. And I'll say it's not because I'm telling you. Look at your results of your relationship history. Those are your receipts. So if they don't look the way you want them to, that's why you know you need to heal.
I like what Riri said. She said, what you build your foundation on is key. Concrete versus quicksand is a big difference.
Absolutely.
I love that.
And that quicksand analogy, all of that stuff I was talking about when we was talking about mental health and in survival mode and all of that, that feels like quicksand, right? You're going to have, like, if you have financial issues, the only way to get out of it is to try to do something different. You're going to feel like you're sinking. Trust me. I know a lot of us know how that feels. I've been at that gas pump counting numbers, trying to figure out how much I can get before that thing go negative. And sometimes you can make it go negative but you got to have like $5 on the card. Trust me, I've been there. I done had to pay their loans. I know what that feels like. And if you live in your life like that and you try to go out and date, it's horrific. Like there's no way you can start off good.
Ooh, that is crazy. So, what is community building a secondary focus for you, and how do you promote it through your coaching?
Okay, so this is a great question. So take everything I just told you about how to make you a better version of yourself, right? And we'll call it the healing journey. I believe everybody has to go through a healing journey, whether they get into a relationship or not. When you are because there's no end to it. You're always going to get triggered, right? You're always going to be working on yourself. But when you're a more healed version of yourself, you look different. You behave different. You align yourself with different types of people. Well, what happens when the people in your sphere, the people that you encounter in your environment, see that you are different and it's positive? Sometimes it will affect somebody in your environment. Then that person, if they decide to heal just like you did, then they affect the people around them. So I don't attack a community as thousands of people. I attack the community one by one so that it influences your household, and then maybe your street, and then maybe your town. So you infiltrate it from the inside, but that individual has to want it for themselves first before you can give it to your kids. And so what I
Right.
always tell people is, even if your kids are 30, but they see that a troubled you becomes a healed you then give that 30-year-old version of them something to model themselves after. So it's never too late to do it. And the community starts within your singular environment. Because I can't say I used to try to save everybody, and I realized I couldn't. It was too much. I can't save the world. So I was like, let me save the people who I can touch. And if I touch 30 people, that's 30 people that can affect their household, right? And your street is built of houses or apartments. And then you hopefully over time it'll lend itself down to your kids, and they'll see a better version of you. So that what happens when I teach people about the childhood stuff, when they take my course or my workshop, when they look at all of the things that could have happened from your parents, what I did not realize is that I would have people say, wait, I'm doing that right now to my kid. I have to change. This is what can happen. Oh my, I'm doing it right now. What happens in that moment when that parent decides to change? That kid now has a whole nother it's going to eventually, hopefully, have a whole nother trajectory that they would not have been on when they decide to date. So that's my mission. I want to just, whoever can get what I'm trying to do and can change from it, that it speaks volumes. It's not just about one person.
I love that, because I never, us growing up, we never heard about therapy. You need to see a therapy. We used to think that's only for crazy people when they go see shrinks. But now, like, since I'm in therapy, I talk to my kids, and my oldest one and my youngest one, they now talks about, oh, I want to see a therapist.
Yeah.
And that feels good, because I know it's some things that I didn't do right. So I know it's things that they holding in, whether they want to say it to me or not, So I love that. And I get what you're saying by now you can show your 30-year-old son, because he is tapping on 30.
Yeah.
So
because it's very simply said, if any psychologist will tell you that a lot of our behaviors come from what was modeled for us, right? So we can look at what our parents modeled for us, but sometimes we always talk about being a role model, but we don't really take it serious. Why? Because we got life to do. We ain't even worried about, when we grew up, we knew we had leaders and role models, and now we got life and we got the economy and all of it. We're not thinking about necessarily being a role model. We just trying to make it work. Well, once you actually take a step back and look at, I'm the model for my kids, then now you can take a vested interest in knowing that some of the stuff you may be doing may be teaching them something that's going to affect them later, and then you have the ability to change it. And it doesn't matter how old you are, and it's not perfect. We make mistakes. Functioning out, like, again, I keep saying it, just being able to function out in life can be a chore. So being a model and all of that, but that's why I said it starts with you. You got to start changing how you move so that they can see different.
Yep. Thank God for change.
Yeah.
What are some common misconceptions about relationship coaching, and how do you address them in your practice?
Misconceptions, I would think a lot of times people think coaches are therapists, and we're not. And so a lot of times they want to dump a lot of stuff on us up front that we're not able to handle, because what we do is we take you from where you are and we ask you what you want, what your goals are, and then we kind of stair step you to your goals. We can't diagnose you, we can't prescribe medication, but a lot of people who may have their stigmas about going to therapy, they want to try to push it all onto the coach, and that's where the coach has to say, I can't handle this. I may recommend you to a certain therapist, or I may say you need therapy, and this is kind of where I stop, because it would be disingenuous for me to take on somebody who's dealt with, like, some SA, sexual stuff. I can't deal with that. But They will bring it to me because they relate to how I handle other parts of their life. And so they're like, let me just try to push this and give him all of this. And I have to have my own boundaries to say, no, this isn't for me. I can help you here, but I can't help you here. So a lot of big misconceptions is they think that they can shoehorn all of that stuff in. And another big misconception is they think that if they get a relationship coach, it's going to guarantee they're going to get a husband or a wife. It's not. This is just helping, giving you tools how to move better, and then hopefully you will be better. A better version of yourself can hopefully find somebody that aligns with that version of you better. And so maybe that will culminate into a relationship or a marriage or whatever you're looking for. But we don't have the magic pill that's just going to make the magic person fall down. And now you got coaching. So now this person is going to come and I'm guaranteed. And then you want to look at me and say, well, I didn't find my husband. It's been a year. Maybe your coaching don't work. Nah, I don't. There's no. The only thing I can do is I can help you find better qualified people because you're different, and I teach you the boundaries and all of the things that you can have. I can guarantee you that if you follow the coaching, that you'll be a better version, and you will hopefully pick better. But there's no dating and relationships is risk. The question is, if it don't feel good, are you gonna get out quick enough?
Right.
So that when you go back out and date again, you're not like, and you still out here, you're not going to find them. You're going to find something else though. you're going to find the stuff that you don't like. They will find you because and all of that complaining, that's trauma. You know who likes to find people that's traumatized? Other traumatized people. Like narcissists and all these people that oh my God, they looking for you to be like, I don't need nobody. But why you still dating then? You out, it's a lie. So they're like, wait, that's trauma. And then you're gonna be like, see, I told you. No, you projected out what you wanted. You just didn't realize it.
I love that. We're gonna go into a quick break. Shout out to First Gen Xer. Y'all make sure y'all follow them on Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram. We're gonna get into the next song. It's called You Can't Sit With Me. This is also new to Successful Toy Podcast.
Hey yo, cuz, what's up, cuz? Man, these people got me fucked up. What the fuck you mean when bitch got a problem? I'ma show you what the fuck I mean. Pull up, drop the low. I bet.
Boy, you see this drip, boy, you see this ice. Got this two-tone on my wrist, dancing like Spice. I be damn if you boys try to jump me on sight. Bag 'em up, nigga, we outside. You want it pressure, hoe? Well, bitch, you got it. You flexing on the gram with your pole, girl, you ain't body. You busy hating on the G. Girl, what's your hobby? Yeah, I'm doing big things. It's hard to copy. You bitches don't want it, cause I'm the hardest to flaunt it. First down on my shoes, yeah, I cost a few hundred. Overseas with your mans, yeah, you spending them bands. I don't play by my money, once I get it, here's your mans. Now I get up and go, calling my bitches a 10-4, you never catch us slacking. If it's smoke, we at your door, hit in the club all night. When my C's on pearly white, all the bitches around me on 10, check the inside. We running through like a trap meet, and I ain't talking athlete, but if he want it, he could get it, you know why I be. Posting on the scene, flexing unusually, this that cold white, big body, you can't sit with me. You can sit with me, you can sit with me, you can sit with me. Nah, you can sit with me. Nah, you can sit with me. Tell them pussy niggas watch out. Giving the business what I'm known for, get ready for a knockout. Pulling bitches by the edges with my looks out. Posing with them angles, cruising through the crowd like wow. Nah, let me go and handle that. Whole slick, thinking I ain't finna handle that. Drop the Addy, hope you ready for me lifestyle. When I pull up all your people better watch out. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. All my bitches from the ride, they slide, so don't test me. Don't play with me.
Yes. They don't play with them. Don't play with them. So we have a comment while we was on a little break. Let's get into it before we get into the question. See what they said. I love the show and I follow them on Twitch. Oh, okay. Make sure you share with people. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting their journey towards self-improvement in their relationships?
The biggest thing I normally tell people is give yourself some grace. We've made a lot of mistakes, so don't beat yourself up too bad. We gotta work forward and try to be better, because a lot of times we will stifle our improvement on ourselves because we criticize ourselves too much about how we got to where we are. So you want to have compassion for yourself. And we can look at, you can look at the things that you've done wrong, but don't stay there. We got to move forward. And so don't beat yourself up too much, because people will beat themselves up even after they've learned some stuff, and then they'll mess up, and then that mess up will put them in a place where they can't get back on track. So you gotta forgive yourself for making mistakes in your life, and we have to know that there's better on the other side. It's not gonna be perfect, and you will stumble. Like I literally create workshops based on where I know human behavior goes. So like, if I know that I'm a coach and I'm teaching you how to heal and I'm teaching you how to improve yourself, but I know you're going to backslide or you're going to make mistakes, I'll make a workshop on what do you do when you make mistakes after you started your healing journey. Like I will create mechanisms for you to go to, even if I'm sleeping. Like, oh, I made a mistake and now I don't know how to get back on track. There's a workshop that teaches you how to get back on track. Like you wanted to know how the engineering goes. That's what I have, a system that no matter what you got to ask for, there's somewhere you can go, even when I'm not there.
Period. I love that. Can you discuss a success story where you focusing on the individual first led to positive changes in their community?
So I will say this. When we talk, I'll talk about community in the same way that I talked about it before, from the individual, right? So I have success stories about people who have moved on to get married, right? Or to build a relationship that would probably last longer because they have better tools around communication and things like this. I have success stories. I can't say there's so many people who have gone through my system that are now better in their homes, in their families, with their kids. And then that version of them shows up better at work. It shows up better, with their parents. People creating boundaries with their parents where they never had them before. So these relationship dynamics start to change, not just the person, but everybody. Even if the change is people learning how to respect your boundaries. Like my mama, I had to let her know I can't keep jumping every time you call. I'm a grown man now. I gotta move, and I can't just jump up. I know I've done it in the past, but once you do that, you start to change people again. It hopefully will work exponentially. So I can't necessarily say community at large, but I can tell you in pockets that marriage may have, because we always talk about how our kids don't have a good representation of what a happy marriage looks like. Well, I'm putting them back in the community. The people that I can touch, I'm putting them in the community. So you now have examples of people who know how to communicate better. You have examples of people who know how to create healthy boundaries now because they've gone through something that I've taught them how to do. I have one person that's been married for 8 years, and it was simply a communication fix. So now every time they have an argument, they know what to do, instead of making each other hurt or saying something that's going to hurt the person, or the argument becomes so bad that you want to run from the relationship, when it's really just once they understood how to do that, now they like, we good now. It's not perfect, but we know that we're not going to leave. We know that we're not going to hurt each other by arguing and doing whatever. So now that they have tools, because again, like I said before, we were never taught these communication tools. We were never taught how to be empathetic to somebody that's pissing us off. If you're going to stay, you're going to have to figure out how to coexist with this person. So we got to figure out better ways to do it. So I think when you say success stories and how they affect the community, I'm putting better success stories in the community so that the community has something good to look at, to be able to say, yes, I've seen a 10-year-old could say, it may not be my parents, but I saw this couple over here and they look like they moving in a way. I want to be like them. I want to move like that. That's what I try to do with the community.
I love that. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you. And let the people know how to find you. Tell them everything about you. Don't leave nothing out that you ain't tell them already.
This is good. I have a lot.
So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. So again, for those who may have come in late, my name is Coach Derrick. Derrick Jones is my full name. And I am a certified relationship coach. I'm a certified now a self-healing coach because I focus on healing more than anything else. So if you wanted to put a moniker over what I do, mostly you could call me you could call me a healing journey coach because that's what I do. So what I typically do through my website, relationshipgumbo.info, is when you go there, there's a host of things. My flagship product, if you will, is my workshop library. 99% of the things that you need in order to start your healing journey and how to date and relationship better, there's a workshop for that. It's just like there's an app for that, there's a workshop for that. I've worked very extensively to create something that feels like you having a one-on-one without you even having to call me if you don't need to. If you know you need to heal, just go in the healing section and start taking the workshops. So they work in a way that not only helps you start your healing journey to understand who you are, become self-aware, but it also, I'm your guide throughout the process. So if you have questions along the way, I'm here. If you need me to help you figure out where to go next, I'm here. So you have a coach, but you don't have a crutch, right? Because if you have a crutch, you're going to always need it, right? So I make you independently heal, but I'm still on your shoulder. So most of my clients will say, I went back out and I tried to date and my gut was telling me to move this way, but I heard your voice. I listened to that workshop twice and your voice told me don't do it and I didn't do it. So that's my gift to my clients. So I have the workshop library. I have a free, oops, the little thumb came up. I have a free coaching community called Coach Derrick's Healing Hub. And that's where I allow people to come in and we do like free Q&A sessions, and this is where you can engage other like-minded people. There's discussion forums there, and we just have a good time. I want to talk to the people. I give more to the people there because they're the people that cross the barrier of even just signing up for something else. Like, you would not believe how difficult it is for some people to just push an extra button that they don't want to push. So when the people come in there, at least I know that they kind of wanted a little more than the average person. So I have the free community. I have the workshop library. I do offer one-on-ones, but you got to qualify for one-on-ones. If you don't qualify for one-on-ones, I'm going to push you directly to the workshops. Once you qualify for a one-on-one, it's not an ongoing one-on-one. It is a power session where I will give you all of the things that you need to go forward on your healing journey, which most likely will then push you to the workshops. So it's self-contained. You'll get the one-on-one and you'll get your not free, but you'll get included your first workshop to get you started on your journey. And then you go into the library system, right? Because what ends up happening is that once you rely on me personally, you're going to want to always call me all the time. So you're not independently healing. So I have a system. I told y'all I was an engineer. This works better for your human mind than for you to just have me sitting in front of you every week. And then if you forget lesson 1, 2 months from now, you can go back to the workshop and replay it as much as you want to. That's the beauty in my system. And it's 100% success rate for the people that want to work. There's nobody that's gone through this that did not change. I have ebooks on my site. You can go check those out. I have a live show, a brand new one that I'm starting next week called Sit Down and Heal with Coach Derrick. So it's podcast adjacent. It's like a show. It will be broadcast on TikTok. So if you're not following me on TikTok, that information is on my page as well. And you go watch the TikTok show, and then that show will be pulled from TikTok and put on YouTube. So kind of like a podcast, but not a traditional podcast. So I'll land there with it. Just go to the website, relationshipgumbo.info, and just click everything. It's a bunch of stuff there. Like you would, if anything that you thought you were hesitant about coaching, I've thought about your objections, and I've already fixed it for you. So if it's price, fixed. If it's you're going to judge, I don't want anybody to judge me. You take the workshop. It's a video. It doesn't judge you. I'm not personally there. So you want a one-on-one? It's there. So all of the things that you might have said, oh, I don't want to do it because the engineer mind has figured it out. So if you think it costs too much, that means you haven't been to my site. That's how I can tell you haven't been there. So go to the site, click everything. And if you have questions, just ask me. I'm here. So if you don't know what to do, send me a message and I'll tell you where to go. So easy peasy. That's all I got.
Period. So I would make sure I gotta follow you on TikTok because that's something I would be interested in watching.
Yeah. I love TikTok because that's where I can get the most strangers. I love strangers. I love new people coming in.
Yeah,
and I can't get that where
I'm fighting against them right now. I had to make a whole nother page because they took my podcast page down.
I know. I had a little stint with them too, but I try my best to stay on there and be careful about what comes out my mouth and all that.
Yeah, but that's why with the new page I barely post. I just because I like watching TikTok because to be honest, like you learn a lot over there. To be honest,
yes.
So that page I just use it as my TV instead of me posting.
Yeah. I got you.
So I want to say thank you for choosing Successful Toy Podcast to be a part of this episode. It was an amazing episode. I learned a lot and more stuff that I'm now going to talk to my therapist about because,
yeah. You know what? You know what's funny? A lot of therapists watch my show and they co-sign on it. And they co-sign on a lot of coaches the good. So there's good and bad everywhere. There's some good coaches and some bad coaches, but coaches that are really about this life, they're like, we need you guys because you guys do stuff that we can't do. And they pass the baton over to us, to a lot of their clients. They're like, I can teach you about you, but I can't teach you how to date. I can't teach you how to, like, that's not what I do. So there's a gray area of things that they don't necessarily qualify to teach you in. They can do the diagnosis. They can tell you about yourself. You can, talk about things. But then there's that gray area of now the functionality of what you learn from therapy. How do you apply it to, meeting a person that's a stranger? And if you like, these are the things where a lot of coaches come in, where therapists is like, thank you, because this is not what I can't teach them how to operate better on online dating. That's your job. Go.
Right.
So yeah.
So we're gonna see you guys in the next episode. Don't you go nowhere, but they gotta go. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for tuning in to the Successful Toy Podcast. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. You can also watch us on Facebook Live. If you prefer to listen, find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Listening Notes, Samsung Podcast, Podcast Index, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. See you in the next episode. Bye.